It's been a while since I've laughed really hard at a show, so when I saw the trailer for the new improv comedy series Murderville on Netflix, I thought it might fit the bill. So now that I've watched, did it bring the funny? For homicide detective Terry Seattle, every day means a new murder case and a new celebrity guest star as his partner. But here's the catch. Each episode's guest star isn't being given the script. They have no idea what's about to happen to them. Together, the guest star and Terry Seattle will have to improvise their way through the case, but it will be up to each celebrity guest alone to name the killer. So this is based on the BBC Three series Murder in Successville. It's an odd mix of scripted comedy and improv that I'm not sure that I've ever seen done before. There are 6 episodes that are about 30 minutes each, and they vary in how funny they are. I mean, with a series like this, it seems like you can watch them in any order, but there is a very small storyline that progresses through the episodes, so that if you want it to make any kind of sense, it's best to watch them in order. So the 6 guest stars are Annie Murphy, Conan O'Brien, Jeong, Kumail Nanjiani, Marshawn Lynch, and Sharon Stone. Now, while Annie Murphy was the least funny out of everybody, Kumail Nanjiani almost gave me an asthma attack. I mean, we had to pause the episode a couple of times because we were laughing so hard at his performance. And if you want to play a drinking game with this show, take a shot every time one of the scripted cast breaks characters. I mean, in 1 or 2 of the episodes, you may die from alcohol poisoning, so just beware. But you can also play this when the guest stars break character, which I think is funny because as they do their improv, sometimes they just can't keep a straight face. The show is very formulaic by its nature, but that reliability also helps for us as the audience to then know what kind of scenarios the guest stars are going to be placed in. Now, for instance, Will Arnett's Terry Seattle will send his newbie partner into a situation where they have an earpiece and they have to say whatever he tells them to say. Now, I began to really look forward to these because you just know that the words are designed to be ridiculous and embarrassing, and then they're usually both. Marshawn Lynch in this type of scenario was hilarious and one of my favorites with just how he performed and then how he reacted to what he was hearing in his earpiece. Now, this is kind of short attention span theater, which I think really works for a good casual watch, and especially if you're in the mood for something silly or lighthearted. Now, each guest star brings their own unique way of improv, and some are evidently much better than others. This also allows us to see how naturally funny they are, and some of the humor may hit differently with you since it can be fairly subjective. This has an element of a murder mystery dinner party that you might attend with some of your friends. There's a warm and inviting cuteness to the whole show. Now, while it isn't perfect, there were a ton of times that I was laughing, but really the majority of my laughter came from the cast trying to say their lines without breaking out into laughter. Now, there's a high amount of nonsense within the entire show, but that's all part of the charm. As Seattle and the guest detective work the case, they come across a few regular characters like the medical examiner, other detectives, and even the police captain. These people help to also add a huge layer of humor because we get to know their personalities, and then sometimes it seems like the cast is actually trying to make the guest laugh. But I also appreciate how the cast also will help guide the guest along just a little bit if it looks like they're struggling with the improv or to where to go with their character. Each episode also features a trio of suspects, and they're also in on the script, so they get to play their characters with just such gusto and bravado that makes it wildly fun to watch. Now, you can play along with the clues as well to just see if you can figure out who the killer was in each episode. That's really not the focus. I mean, most of the time the clues are wildly obvious and delivered in such a way that they're pretty overt, but the fun comes in just seeing if the guest detective can catch the clues and then solve the crime. It's hard to get bored in the show or even lose interest with how quickly each episode plays out. And they've edited it to move efficiently through the narrative, and there's not much extraneous information where the pace can drag. But that being said, if you binge from episode 1 straight through to episode 6, you might get a little tired of seeing the same type of scenarios and setups time after time. Now, I watched at a leisurely pace of about 2 episodes a night, and that allowed me to stay connected and laugh, but also not be like, geez, okay, so here comes that scene again. So overall, Murderville uses its formula to create some really good laughs, placing the unsuspecting guest stars in awkward situations they need to improv their way out of. There's a high level of predictability to the stories, but what's completely unpredictable is the reactions of the guests. The pace of the show is quick and efficient, but if you binge it all in one sitting, the repetitious nature of the scenarios could begin to wane on you. The scripted cast is really enjoyable as they play up the cheese and do their best to not break out into laughter, which becomes all the more funny when they do break character. This is great for a casual watch, especially if you're looking for some laughter. There's no sex or nudity, but there is some profanity and some obviously staged and very fake violence. I give Murderville 4.5 out of 5 couches. So who do you think would be a good guest star in this type of show? I think really that I would like to see Chris Pratt, Amy Poehler, or even Ryan Reynolds appear in this. But let me know yours in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.